as I came to the conclusion that everything around me had come from somewhere, someone, I found myself in the middle of an existential crisis. You see, our souls hunger for meaning and purpose, acceptance, unconditional love. These are the basis of a lot of the objections that we're hearing out in the culture today. Love is at the forefront of the cultural conversation. What do we do with our deepest desires, our deep brokenness? What do we do with the soul? What do we do with consciousness? And I think consciousness and the soul, they're a huge part of reality, and we don't talk about them all that often. And I think that these things, not only are they a huge part of reality, I think they're a huge problem for the naturalist, but I don't think it is for the Christian. In fact, I remember reading years and years ago, Daniel Dennett, he's a philosopher of science, I believe. He's probably many things, actually, really smart guy. He's great. Read him, watch his stuff on YouTube. He's fantastic. He's an atheistic philosopher out of Tufts. And he says that consciousness is an illusion. And this is where I think the atheist has to turn to. But this claim by Dennett shows just how much trouble I think the atheists are in. What's an illusion? Think about it. An illusion is when your conscious mind is being appeared to falsely. So then I have to ask the question, do non-conscious things have illusions? Rocks don't have illusions, just like rocks don't dream. Only conscious minds can be appeared to. So if that's true, if consciousness itself is an illusion and only conscious things can have illusions, is the illusion having illusion? This is a perfect example of a self-refutation. Dennett, he's got to presuppose what he's denying in order to deny it. Three things about the soul I think that are important. First, souls are real. Your soul is what you're aware of when you introspect. All people know that they have souls. They're aware of them constantly. You're in direct contact with your own soul every waking moment, and you're the only being who is in contact with your soul, by the way. And you're not simply a meat suit in motion because of it. That's the first thing. The second thing, and I think I would have agreed to this as an atheist. I knew there's something wonderful about human beings. I just didn't understand that the wonderful thing has to be our souls. It's the kind of soul we have that makes us special, makes us unique. We all know humans are special. I don't know anybody who would really deny that. Not in their right mind, I hope. We all know that human beings are valuable. But as a naturalist, as an atheist, I couldn't ground this in my worldview. On atheism, there's no reason to believe humans are special. And this is where my struggle comes in. You see, part of the external crisis and the main point here is that naturalism reduces us to just simply cosmic junk. Biological accidents without a purpose. I'm not saying that just on my own. Read the naturalists. William Provine, he's now dead. He said that we have no purpose or meaning in life. Richard Dawkins defends the same proposition. You see, on atheism, man is nothing, and this life means nothing except any meaning that you want to arbitrarily give it. Nothing is ultimately valuable. Nothing is ultimately meaningful, and nothing will ultimately satisfy. Our hunger for purpose, our hunger for justice, our hunger for immortality, nothing ultimate matters, and nothing can ultimately satisfy those hungers. No wonder why they call it nihilism, nothingism. Lately I've been talking a lot on suicide. That's been my number one requested talk for the last 2 years, even before COVID. And this is a result of this. As I go all over the country, I'm seeing personally that worldviews matter. Our worldview informs us about who we are and ultimately why we're here. And what you believe about those things have real consequences. So the first thing that we know is that we have a soul. We are a soul. And it's only adequate to it's the only way that we can adequately explain consciousness. The second thing, we know that humans are very special. And the third thing everyone knows is that humans are broken. They're not physically sick. They're morally broken, or more specifically, morally to blame, friends. These are the tough truths that I had to wrestle with, and these are where I came. A while ago, I met this French atheist turned Christian. His name's Guillaume Bignon, and he's written a bunch of books, or a couple books. And I talked with him about his conversion from atheism to Christianity, and his major struggle was with why did Jesus have to die? Right, this made no sense to him. Then he said, this is a quote, so I'm going to read it. He said that God reactivated my conscience. That was not a pleasant experience. I was physically crippled by guilt, not knowing what to do about it. And then he realized that that's why he had to die, for him, for me, for the guilt, for the crippling guilt that we have. Even while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. He made him who knew no sin to be sin on our behalf, so that we might become the righteousness of God in him. You see, naturalism can't do this. It can't explain this part of reality. Naturalism can't explain the beauty and the wonder of human beings, and it has no answer for human brokenness. So it has no conclusion or consolation, rather, no consolation in true forgiveness. But Christianity does. Christians do. You see, friends, as an atheist, all I was left with to build my life on was as atheist philosopher Bertrand Russell, he says it, a firm foundation of unyielding despair is what he says. And all I had left was in my view at least, was Dawkins's view of the universe, which is blind, pitiless indifference. But I knew better. I think we all do, even the atheists. I think you know better. Just listen to the way that people talk and watch how they live. And in unguarded moments, I found myself slipping. I had to borrow from another worldview in order to explain reality. Because we have to live in reality. We have to live in the real world. And what's happening here when we do this, right? The same thing that happened to me. We all bump into it. Even atheists, even Christians. I mean, we all bump into it at certain moments. We need that readjustment. We all live in the world that God made. It doesn't matter if you believe in him or not. It's true.